Welcome to the old-fashioned three. They've been around basketball from the Big Dipper to the Greek Freak, from Russell Celtics to Curry's Warriors, from Peach Baskets to Paolo Banchero. Here are Whitey Gleason, Phantom, and Jerry Reynolds.
Yes, that was that cat, all right.
Mr. Basketball, are you as upset as I am that last night the great Jerry Reynolds is at the Golden One? They have a wonderful, wonderful tribute to him.
Yes.
Pop himself comes down to pay homage, and yet the Kings can't find a way to win that game.
Well, first of all, it wasn't
terrible.
last night. It was yesterday afternoon. Remember, we're talking about an older gentleman. He doesn't go to
Yes.
night games.
You're right, late afternoon, evening.
But your
Okay.
general point, yes, I am upset. But if you'll remember last week when I talked about the Monday game with Minnesota coming in, I thought the Kings would lose that game. They lost that game. They're not playing very well. They did go on the road and beat Portland a couple of times. The first half of the first game wasn't great. So I'm disappointed, but I'm not that
Yes,
surprised because
but-
they're going downhill. And yes, you had Jerry Reynolds in the
Yes.
audience, but we have him here twice a week. We don't do that well. I'll be honest with you. I'm a little disappointed in us.
We're giving our best.
Well, you are. I mean, sometimes he doesn't really motivate me, but I can understand how you underperform when Jerry's in the building.
Yeah.
But, yeah, well, first of all, it was fantastic, all respect, to see the response that Jerry got. Much different than when he gets here again.
Yes.
But obviously
Yes.
well-deserved.
Much different.
But it is much different. But, yeah, I was
Yeah.
extremely, extremely disappointed by how the team played yesterday. And I'm going to have to go ahead and say the defense-schmefense thing that I came up with some time ago might kind of hang around and bite me in the butt. That's all I'm worried about, Jerry.
Yeah, well, I agree with you. I mean, I fully expected, once I'm in the building,
Once you're in the building.
that they would just automatically become a really good, hard-nosed defensive team.
Yeah, just by osmosis.
Yeah.
kinda.
That's what you preach. Yeah,
And-
exactly.
And surprisingly, what? They were just like they were the game before.
Well, the Spurs, I looked
and the
up,
game before.
they scored 120 points like half a dozen times this season. So it's not like they have no firepower. I mean, look at the names, Jerry. Look at the names.
Justin Champagne went off.
Collins, Graham, Jones, Branham, and Bates Chop.
Yeah.
And McDermott and Champagne or Champagne.
Champagne, Justin, yeah.
I mean, look at the names, Jerry.
I mean,
you
yeah.
don't defend those
No,
guys.
you don't, especially if they had their two best players out.
Do they have two best players?
Yeah, they do.
Yes.
Keldon Johnson and Vassell.
yes, Johnson's
and
good thing.
Vassell.
Oh.
Yeah, those guys are good.
They're good.
And
Yeah.
Soshin, I think the other.
Yes,
they have
he's
three
good.
out.
Yes, but he wasn't in there
He wasn't
either.
there either.
Sources tell me that there was a woman sitting next to Jerry last night at the arena.
Hey,
and she says,
why you got to start there?
well, what? There's a
Oh.
woman at the game. There are a lot of women
Okay.
at the game. And she sees Jerry. She says, you look a lot like Jerry Reynolds. And Jerry says, well, that's a good thing I do. And she goes, no. Wow. Yeah. Flabbergasted.
That
Did you
was-
take a
that
picture
was-
with her, Jerry? A
Yeah, I
selfie?
did.
You
I
selfied
did.
it? Yeah.
I did. I can, you can prove it. Yeah, if it's really important to you to prove it.
Yeah.
You're sitting next to some old crinkly man that.
That got a tremendous ovation and a warm welcome from the crowd.
Yeah,
He
no,
didn't see
I
any
was nice.
defense. Yeah.
No, but bless her heart. Yeah, she looked at me and, I kind of thought something was kind of funny.
Yeah.
That, how you look and she'll look.
Well, you look like a couple of famous people anyway,
Yeah.
though. I
Yeah.
mean, others.
Yeah,
So.
I've got that in the grocery. I had that one time, but some lady in the grocery store came up to me and said, are you Jerry Reynolds? And this is some years ago. I said, yeah. He said, what are you doing at the grocery store?
Good question.
That's a great
And I
Yeah,
said,
why are you there?
I thought I'd get some groceries. and then I'm serious. That's exactly
That's
what
a great
I-
answer, though.
And then she said,
It's a great question.
That it really is.
my God, don't you dress up a little better to come? I said,
That's what she was worried about. You weren't dressed
well,
enough
I
for
didn't.
the grocery
I
store.
mean, I
You
should
have
have.
your
Yeah,
sweats on.
I should have had a suit and tie on. I just
Yeah.
had sweats and stuff on. you
Sure.
know.
Yeah.
I thought it was okay to go grocery shopping like that.
Not if you're Jerry Reynolds, man.
Now, did
No.
you know last night you don't go to a lot of games, or you
No.
haven't in a while? Did you know that there was going to be this tribute at all?
No,
Was it-
Lord, no.
He wouldn't
That's
have gone if he
awesome.
knew that.
I mean, it was over the top. I mean, it's like my wife said, "My God, is this Jerry Fest ever going to end?"
I get the idea that she's not part of the Jerry Fest.
She appreciates me on some level.
You know, Phantom, when the president they give the State of the Union, and then the other party has to
Yeah.
give their. So Mrs. Reynolds would be
Right.
the afterwards. This is the other side of the.
Oh, she's the
Jerry
opposition.
yes,
I thought she
exactly.
was the person sitting behind the president who was like reading their phone or something like
Well,
that. the
she'd
whole
always
time.
say when I was doing TV and stuff, she'd always say, "Oh, geez, that's corny. What'd you say this or that?" And I thought it was real witty. You know,
She didn't know you were corny. I mean, that's
She,
kind of
keeping
Keeping you
that's
grounded.
your charm.
Keeping you grounded.
It's funny. She sees things differently. I'm sure your wives aren't like that.
No, not at all. No. She doesn't listen to anything I say, so it doesn't matter.
But Pop actually came by and kind of.
Yeah, he came to the scores bench, and a couple people was pointing and said, "Hey, Coach Popovich trying to get your attention." So I saw him down there.
And you're like, yeah,
And,
I'll get to him.
Yeah.
I'm watching the game.
I said,
Yeah,
"Wait, Pop, hey,
I'm getting a selfie with my seatmate here. I'll call you later, Bob.
Yeah, I'll get
Sure.
you later, Pop."
Well, that's awesome.
No,
That-
it was real-
really,
well,
that's
I mean,
incredible.
he's I've known him a long time and terrific guy, and he's obviously one of the best, and he's a Hoosier, so
Yeah.
that's that gives him a little extra.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a new Hall of Famer too, right? I mean, he's in
Yeah.
the class this year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. He and Tony Parker and Ginobili and
Yeah, so
all of them.
Dirk
kind
Nowitzki. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, the interesting thing
Wade.
is there's like, Parker and Ginobili, two of the keys to several world championships.
Mm-hmm,
Parker was 28th pick and Ginobili 52nd pick.
Yeah.
You just
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Good
yeah,
drafting.
from other countries.
and
they
like
carry.
I say to these teams that are not even trying to win, it's like, okay, guys, I wonder if you get the third or fourth pick, how many more games you going to win?
Now, to me, that suggests that when they made those picks,
they aren't trying to win. Those teams that aren't trying to win, we played one of them yesterday.
know.
Yeah, and what happened?
well,
They won.
See, those guys are trying to.
Yeah, Branham and
The-
Yeah,
Graham
it's
and
not their
Langford
fault.
and Barco
Yeah.
and Yang and Wesley and I don't know what that guy's name is, but they're all trying to win.
Yeah, the players, it's like Portland beating Minnesota.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
obviously the franchise ain't trying.
right.
But
It's not those guys. It's the guys who put those guys on.
yeah,
it.
on the floor,
yeah.
And then it's these guys are supposed to come out and take care of
these
those guys.
These guys are supposed to guard those guys.
Yes. Yes.
Well, that's not happening.
Phantom, what do you want to hear from the car show today? I got two for you.
Oh.
Jerry has a really interesting theory on why Pop is still coaching.
Okay.
And he also he told me about one of the great sideline heckles that he ever
Okay.
received.
Am I going to get both
Yeah.
of them anyway, no matter which one I get
I don't
first?
know. It's up to you. And
Well,
it's up
I
to,
have to get the heckle, but I feel I'm going to get that anyway. So give me the other one first.
Okay. Do you want to say it, or do you want me to say it, why Pop is still coaching? Because it is your
No, you go ahead.
Okay.
You-
And I hadn't thought of this. Jerry says, Pop is the type that maybe he is planning on leaving soon, and he just doesn't want whoever replaced him to go through this, which I had never thought of.
So he's trying to get him to a certain level before
Yeah.
he leaves.
Yeah, I think that's good. With Pop, that could very well be part of it because he's always kind of more considerate of others than himself a little bit. He doesn't have a big ego, and
Doesn't matter for him. He's won the
yeah,
championship.
he's
in the Hall of
the
Fame.
president of
He's-
the team
yeah, yeah.
anyway.
Well, there you go.
So I mean, there's no risk to him other than his 1-loss record, which obviously, he's in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah,
anyway.
so he's all right.
So
he's,
he's
okay.
all right.
He'll be all right. But
Yeah.
yeah.
If he's going to give it to Brett Brown or someone like that, he'd like for him to be a little better positioned, I think. So I think that's a possibility.
Yeah, I hadn't thought of that.
So not start from scratch, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And then the other,
The heckle.
can I tell that story, or do you want to tell that story about Ficker?
I better tell that.
Yeah,
one.
I think that's a good one. Yeah.
I've only heard one
I-
name, and I think you better let
I'm
Jerry
glad
tell
you
it.
got it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it was. I think I told it in my book. The fabulous book, Reynolds
Yeah.
Remembers.
Fabulous,
whatever.
fabulous book.
Anyway, Robin Ficker, as a lot of older fans will remember, was the heckler for the Washington Wizards or whatever they are. I think the Bullets at
Yeah,
that time.
yeah.
And
Known around the league.
and he
Yeah.
just sat 2 or 3 rows right behind
Right.
the visitors' bench, and so he was unique in the sense he never used profanity, but he was he's a lawyer, very smart guy, and really creative in his
A
attacks.
good heckler, a very talented heckler.
Well, anyways, of course he'd been on me good bit anyway, but that just on general stuff like the fact you guys aren't very good. And,
just the easy,
right.
just the low hanging.
There's some,
he
there's some
did-
fodder for material
Yeah,
there.
there's
yeah,
some
you
good-
guys aren't
good
very
stuff.
good, and we're not very good, and and here we are,
Yeah.
type stuff, But
Good heckle, yeah.
But anyway, it's all of a sudden he kept saying, Jerry, how'd you do it? Jerry, tell me, please, how'd you do it? And I finally turned around and said, Robin, what are you talking about? He said, Jerry, how did you find an assistant coach littler and uglier than you are? And I was telling Whitey, the funniest thing was the players, of course, they knew Herman Cull was the assistant, and he was shorter and uglier than me. Now I'm telling you,
So factually, the heckle was good too.
And so the players just all busted. They were just laughing. They were just busted up, and Herman was pissed.
Well, yeah, I can see. I can see Herman's point of view. Actually.
He got all pissed. I said, Herman, you are. Come on. I said,
Everybody had a good laugh except for Herman.
Except
what
for
I'm
Herman.
getting.
Anyway, so that was Robin at his best.
So that was the car show today.
That's a
for the
good
weather.
car
That
show.
was a car
That's
show.
a heck of a car show. Again,
Great
Another
episode.
part we should put, add on to this show.
Yeah.
Many different offshoots of the show that people don't get to hear.
Well, congratulations on a great night. It's unfortunate they couldn't come through for you. Do you have a level of concern now? I know there's one school of thought. The Kings have had this great year. We don't want to hear the negativity. It's been fabulous in the playoffs. The rest of it, who cares? I'm just thinking you don't have necessarily that many chances to have a special season. You can't assume that a team's going to get better and then better and better. Sometimes it happens that way, but it doesn't always. So you have a chance now to be really good. And right now the Kings are not playing good basketball. So what's your level of concern? Like red alert, yellow alert? Or are you like, nah, we're good. Everything good to go. We're all green.
Well, I kind of go back to Mr. Basketball here a little bit. One thing
It always comes back to him,
It does.
Well,
It does.
yeah.
It does. I mean, this team can score, so you know that. They're going to score every night. The concerns about their defense, of course, there's no real concern. They're not any good. But the positive I'd take from it is all the other teams have got flaws too. In the West, I mean, there's just nobody that game to game you don't wonder about. Whether it's the Clippers or the Nuggets or the Warriors, I mean, really probably the only team that right now is playing way above their head is the Lakers.
Yeah.
They're coming, huh?
Which
They're
is
coming,
really-
aren't they? Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, but I just like, it's like, you got a whole bunch. I mean, you teams that really you think are better than they are, and then about the time you get to thinking convinced they are, then they show you they're not. And so I think it's a wide open deal.
I think there's three teams. Right? You mentioned the Lakers, obviously. The Suns, now that Durant is back.
Yeah.
And I think the Pelicans, except for that game they blew the big lead to the Warriors, they've been playing really good lately. And one of those teams is going to be the team the Kings probably play in the first round. Probably not the Suns. But, I mean, it's been a great season. At the end of it, they're probably not going to win the title, so you'll look back on it and think it's a great season, unless they lose to the Lakers in the first round. That's the thing that I don't think you can take.
Yeah.
If they fall, Lakers, if they win out, the Lakers will probably be fifth, which the Kings should avoid them if they win one more game, which we thought was just a foregone conclusion until yesterday, and now I don't know. But they should be able to avoid the Lakers in the first round. But that's the matchup. I mean, I'd like to see the Warrior matchup just because of the entertainment value, but I don't want to see the Laker matchup just because I think losing to the Lakers in the first round would take a lot of the luster off the
The
season.
Lakers have 4 games left. I think it's Utah twice, the Clippers, and the Suns, if
Yeah.
I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. They might have. Yeah, that's right. Either that or they do. I thought
I
they
think
might have
that's
the
right.
Nuggets. Yeah, but
okay.
yeah,
Is it Denver,
yeah,
not Phoenix?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
But Denver. I mean, I don't know if Denver's not trying or they just. I mean, Jokic didn't play against the Warriors and they still won, so who knows? But I don't. They're kind of like off and on as far as whether they're committed to winning. So that name on the schedule isn't as serious as it might have been. So
Well, that's why it's so hard to figure
Yeah.
out who's going to end up where because
Exactly.
you don't know.
You
Like
don't
when
know
the
who's
Kings
playing.
play the Warriors, are the Kings going to put their best foot forward? Or so it's really
Yeah, and you don't want to play
difficult.
that opponent roulette where you go, well, I think we'd rather play the Clippers in the first round because you don't know if they're healthy. But as we pointed out last time, you don't know.
You can't fool
don't
around
know
with
what's
that, or
going on
you end
because
up
you
in
don't
the
know who's going
play-in.
to end up where. Like the Warriors, yeah.
Yeah.
So if the Warriors win that game last night, then they probably pretty much get to control their own destiny as far as the 5th spot is concerned. But they didn't, and now it's wide open.
Yeah.
Well, too, it's like some people saying, well, a lot of teams the first round would like to get the Kings. Okay. Well, and there's some truth in that. I understand
why
for,
they
for
say
various reasons.
I think last night was an example of why.
Example
Yeah.
of that.
Defense.
But it's also true is like who should the Kings be scared of? You know, I mean, the Clippers. Well, Paul George not there, and even when he is there,
Yeah.
they've proven they're very beatable. Memphis, you don't know
Yeah.
for sure. In their second. The Nuggets haven't been playing great lately, mostly because Jokic isn't playing. I think that's more a product of Michael Malone just making sure they're going to be the number one seed, and they want to go into it probably with Jokic fresh.
Yeah, it's not easy to orchestrate that from his standpoint, is
Yeah.
it? Because, like you say, you pretty much know that you're going to be number one, but how are you going to try to do that? Because you don't want too much. You don't want them to get any rust coming on down the end of the season.
Right.
Yeah. By the way, the Lakers, it's the Jazz, Clippers, the Suns, and then the Jazz to close out the season.
Okay.
Weird thing about watching the Nuggets last night, because they're going to obviously be in the playoffs. Without Jokic, it's almost. I was watching him last night. Go, where's their point guard? It's like, oh yeah, he's It's like
He's on the
He's
bench.
that 7-footer.
On the bench.
Yeah. So they got
Yeah.
Murray plays point, and they were running the offense through Aaron Gordon, and it was a little weird, but that was a big win for them. And I agree. Right now, Michael Malone's trying to make sure they're as healthy as they can be when things start, while still, they don't have to really worry about maintaining their spot. But
Yeah, that's the thing.
That's the best team in the West for all their flaws.
Yeah, and they are kind of flawed,
Yeah.
but I think they're clearly
And you've said that. Pardon me for interrupting, but I want to point out, since like November, you've been saying I think it's Denver.
Yeah. Well, I think they're well coached. They got a major star. They've got some nice guy, a couple of guys like Porter and Murray that are close to being stars, and Gordon too.
And Brown's a good player. And we talked about that in the
Yeah,
offseason.
he's a surprising
Yeah.
good rookie that they can count on. So, like I say, they've got enough pieces there to win the West. Now, I think the bad news for them is there's 2 or 3 teams probably with more talent if they're healthy and playing at their best, but that may never happen. Hadn't as Phantom pointed out to me, if the Pelicans, like they were early in the year, they were the top. Zion Williams was 100% healthy, and they were really together. They're a threat.
They guard people. That's the thing to me.
Yeah.
Defense does still matter. I know everybody has their flaws, but to me, the fact that the Kings' biggest flaw is they can't defend, to me, that's a pretty big flaw potentially. And I also take my cue from Mike Brown, who talks a lot about how, we're not gritty enough, we don't play hard enough. Sometimes at home, I feel like last night was an example. The Kings start to play with a little bit of a sense of entitlement, and they can't afford to, especially at the defensive end. Maybe that's not right, but that's what I see. They start to play a little bit like they're caught up in, we're having this great season. When they do that, they can't stop anybody.
Yeah, the last 2 home games, they had a chance to clinch something, and they didn't close either one out. And last night, obviously, against a team far inferior to Minnesota. So I don't know what it is. And, yeah, if Mike Brown's coming out going, we don't play defense. I mean, that's the guy who came here
says,
to
we're
bring
not
defense.
gritty enough. Yeah.
And it sounds like, I don't know, Jerry, you know him. It sounds like what he's saying is, his subtext is, I've tried to tell these guys we need to play defense, and they're not doing it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like he's pointing fingers, but he's saying,
But-
I recognize we need to play defense. And I've told him that
Yeah,
all
well-
78 games or whatever it is, we aren't playing defense.
Yeah, I do think too when they show a little bit of grittiness, but it's always on the road.
Yes.
What is that? The fans spoil them at home?
Oh, well, I think a little bit.
They get home and they're like,
get
we're the
home, it's
Kings.
like,
And we're at home, so
Yeah.
hello. Give us
yeah.
our W, please.
Yeah,
Not
yeah.
so fast, mister.
yeah, no, I think there's a little bit of that. You
I got something going on
A little
over
bit of that. What
Yeah.
was that?
Yeah.
I mean,
Exactly.
I agree with
Here's
what he
right
said,
where
but
it's
the way
at.
he said it,
Well,
it's
I was
like,
just trying to make it a little
was this like
theatrical,
some
you know?
French James Bond
Hello,
villain?
monsieur. Not so fast, monsieur.
Yeah.
You will not get the W today.
No, well, I don't know about that. I thought
Thank you, Rick.
I thought your Bill Walton thing was quite good. But
It was. I agree with
Well,
that.
I mean, hey, I
That,
can't hang my head. I got to develop more characters.
Yeah.
Come on. My Frenchman is doing pretty well.
Not really.
You know Frank Caliendo?
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Frank used to love it when he'd come on our show all the time, and he'd do voices. Then Phantom would do his voices, and Frank loved that every time Phantom did an impression, he would start by giving you the name of the person.
Jerry,
like, I'm
nobody
Ronald
else
Reagan.
does that. That's my bit. I've heard other people try that. That I invented that bit.
And Frank's, the subtext is you should be able to
Oh,
tell who it
this is
is
Bill
without
Walton.
the person telling you
No, that's
what
the
voice they're doing.
Exactly, huh? How great is that? How did I subvert the idiom there, Jerry? Huh?
I don't know.
Yeah, I know. I apologize. I
That's a
digress.
little-
As crazy as the West is, as bunched up as it is, does that mean, as I hope it means, that we're going to have really crazy, exciting, anything can happen playoffs, at least in the West?
I don't see how I can help. I mean, but
Yes.
be that. I
Yeah.
mean, it's going to be all over the place. And like I say, I mean, when you really get down to it, though, in playoffs, a couple things are going to happen. It's going to get a little more physical.
Yeah.
Scoring is going to get a little harder. Okay, those two things. So how that affects each team will be interesting. And maybe the most important thing, it's a best of 7. It's not like college where you can have an off night and your season's over. You got to beat somebody 4 times, and that. So generally speaking, if you're the best team, you'll win.
Mm-hmm. The defense concerns me a lot. The lack of playoff experience doesn't concern me as much because, Sabonis has played in the postseason, Barnes. But Mike Brown, he has a ton of playoff experience, right? So he's really
knows
good at
what
it comes
wins
to
in the playoffs, yeah.
strategizing to a specific opponent.
Well, before that, when you talk about the playoffs being crazy, I think it starts before the playoffs this year. I really think it starts in the play-in. There's going to be some talented teams that are in that play-in game. There's teams that could win, I think, a first-round series in those play-in games, and those are just one game, and I think those are going to be fantastic because when you look at the teams that are vying in those spots right now, there's a lot of good teams in there.
Yeah, it's so closely bunched. I mean, there's no doubt. I mean, I don't think I'd be surprised if they're not a couple of big surprises. And you'd almost be surprised if Denver does win the West, even though they're
I
the
think
number
so.
one seed.
I think so. Yeah. Well, I mean, and I'd like to see. I didn't think I was going to say this a while ago. I kind of like to see Dallas get their way into that playing game because they're out of it now.
Yeah.
But I kind of like to see them because I'd like to see Luka and Kyrie on that one game
On
kind
that
of
one
thing,
game.
and just to see what happens in that one game, NCAA kind of thing.
I'd like to see them in there only if they lose. I don't like that team.
I don't.
Well,
either,
I
but,
give them
but-
put them in there. They'd be on the road probably.
Put them in there if they lose. I want to see them lose a play-in so they can, well, what happened? But other than
Well,
that,
the only place I'd like to see them, I'd like to see them if the Kings are third. I'd like to see them sixth.
I know you guys.
I'm not seeing that,
And
Jared.
they
I'm
got-
not seeing. No,
That's a long putt.
I'm not
from
seeing
here.
it.
No, there was a-
They've
there
got to
was-
win 6 of their last 3, and
Yeah,
then they have
no,
a chance to
yeah.
do that. I think. Yeah. So yeah, I don't.
37 and 42.
Yeah, so they've got to win out to have any chance to get in the play-in.
Yeah.
Much less. I don't think that 6 is in play, Jer.
I don't believe it is.
Yeah.
no, it's just a
OKC.
hope. It was a hope.
Yeah.
OKC's in there. Yeah,
OKC.
Minnesota's down in there.
By the way, a lot of people have been talking about, the Kings, they reached the postseason, they qualified, and there were tears, which I understand. And I know you even suggested, no one saw me, so I didn't cry. Here's something really, to me, that really makes you choke back tears. Did you see what the Thunder did for Monty Williams last night?
I saw it.
Yeah,
yesterday.
that
Yeah.
was very nice.
Because the
Consider
Suns were playing OKC, and it was Monty would have been his wife's birthday. He was an assistant with Thunder when she was killed in a car crash years ago. So anyway, Monty Williams back there last night with the Suns, and it would have been his wife's birthday. And so OKC, they made sure no one sat in her seats where she used to sit at the arena during games.
When you read about something like that, you go, "There's somebody who figured that out."
Yeah.
Somebody in
Yeah.
the organization went, "What would be great?" And that's I don't think I would think ahead like that. And I really admire people like that because teams, for the most part, seem to make moves like that. You'll see that all around the league. And there's some people in the front office who are really keyed into things, and they make that call. And I'm sure somebody made that suggestion. So, props to
Good
them.
organization, huh?
I think so. I mean,
Yeah,
I
that's
think that-
amazing.
Having said that, I mean, then there's also in the same article done about how Kevin Durant gets booed still. And of course Monty Williams, because he's a very considerate and good head coach, is saying I don't understand why they would still boo him. I do.
Yeah, yeah.
I
Well, he
do.
doesn't pay attention to that though.
No.
Jerry. Kevin Durant. It doesn't affect him at all.
No. Burner phone might, but he.
He's on his burner phone going, "Why are they booing me?" Tweeting out.
No, I mean it's like I wouldn't boo him, but yet I understand why some people would.
Oh, sure.
He left them when he didn't have to, and
Right.
they might have won a championship had he stayed.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
were that close.
And not only did he leave him, he could have handled it better. I think he gave indications he was going to stay, which made it harder for them when he up and left. But anyway,
it's
Well,
kind of
that's all
like
done
why
now.
Boston boos Kyrie Irving because he.
Well, I mean, everybody does that. I mean, come on.
Well, now
Yeah.
they do.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah, now everybody knows, but he's happy in Dallas.
Very happy, and that's why I want to
Very
see him.
happy.
Want to see him in that playing game. That's what I want
Yeah,
to see him
well,
and
I was
Luka
gonna say,
under
very,
pressure.
very
see Mark
happy.
Cuban over on the sidelines, just
Till
enjoying life.
contract time, anyway. Then he won't be so happy.
When he goes to the Lakers.
When he goes to well, if I'm
Well, not anymore.
Hey,
I thought he was going to, but I don't think they got Austin Reeves now. They don't need Kyrie Irving.
Well, if I were Dallas, I would sign and trade and get Austin Reeves and Vanderbilt and maybe Hashimura.
I like that.
And I'd say
Yeah.
then you got a
Here,
team.
you-
You've actually rebuilt your team with a
That's
chance
not
to
a
win.
bad idea at all.
Yeah.
And say, Lakers, here you are.
So if the plan started today, which let me check. Okay, it
It
doesn't.
rarely does when people say that.
Right. You
Yeah.
have the Lakers playing the Pelicans at 7-8. The winner becomes the 7.
The 7.
The loser plays the winner of the Minnesota OKC playing.
Right.
Yeah, and then the winner of that game becomes the 8. So you'd have Denver against the winner of that game. You'd have Memphis the 2 against the Lakers the 7. Sacramento the 3 against Golden State the 6, and then Phoenix against the Clippers. But obviously it's just
Fantastic.
very volatile.
Yeah,
Oh, boy.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I understand what Windhorst said. I mean, I would much rather, if I had a choice, and some of these teams don't, as we've said, they can't sit here and pick and choose. I'd much rather play Sacramento in the first round than I would play the Suns if I'm the Clippers or the Warriors or whoever I am.
I think most teams would agree with
Yeah,
that.
and if you're looking at
really.
the teams above Sacramento, Denver, and Memphis, they're both really, really, really strong at home. The Kings not as strong at home either.
What's that about, Phantom?
I don't know what that's about. I don't know. Maybe that sense of entitlement you're talking about. Maybe they just got.
the Jaunty Kings.
We are the
Lights the
Kings.
beam, huh?
We will win, huh? Let's be.
Well, what is it? You've coached. Why you don't?
I have no idea. I mean, you
And
know,
they're not bad at
Why you
home. They're-
challenging
but
the
even
poor
bad
guy?
teams are good at home. Mm-hmm. Like I said, our last episode, it proved it to me when Dick Motta had a 24-win team and won 23 at home. Just like the Kings have won 23
That's an
at
interesting
home.
cat, that Dick Motta. I mean, you talk about him all the time.
Yeah,
Pierre. That's just a
he
crazy
was,
time.
It was a very interesting of times.
Fantastique, huh?
Yeah. Did Dick Motta just think that you give me anybody, you give me Rory Sparrow, you give me Bobby Hansen, I'll turn this thing around in 3 years. We'll be a championship team.
Give me Bobby Hansen. I'll
Well, it's
turn
like
this thing around.
I always remember. Yeah, he always said. I always remember the story where he told Danny or telling the team, "If you guys would just listen to me, you'd get one of these championship ring." And Danny Ainge said, "Well, Coach, maybe they should listen to me. I got 2." And that was the end of Danny Ainge.
Oh, that's why he had to go. Is that why?
Danny and Dick were not on the same.
But from that point
level,
on,
yeah.
it's, so anyway, yeah, there was a little bit of that. I mean, at that time, I think Dick had been a terrific coach in Chicago and Washington, but then
Talent level might have been better. In some
and it had
places,
good
so,
talent. But
yeah.
I mean, I think it's a case of like players. I mean, there's a burnout that's in effect. It's like a Kings when George Karl came. They didn't get the real George Karl. And I don't think we got the real Dick Motta.
Well, you were talking earlier about Pop and the Spurs and how they went out and they got Parker and Ginobili. And I think one of the reasons the Spurs were successful, and please correct me if I'm wrong, they were able to get beyond the bias that existed towards foreign players. Whereas I know that you shared with me once that Dick Motta was not necessarily excited about Drazen Petrovic because it's like, well, he's not an American. Just because we didn't know about foreign players. Whereas the Spurs saw sooner than a lot of teams, like, it doesn't matter what country they're from if they can play.
Yeah,
right?
I think Golden State and probably San Antonio were the groundbreakers in that area, and of course I think Donnie Nelson really scouted, and I know Pop and his people always did before most teams, so they understood ahead of time.
Yes,
they were
before ahead of the
probably
curve.
5 to 10 years ahead of people, realizing that the European game, foreign game was really making inroads compared to American colleges.
Yes, and now we got like Dirk Nowitzki going to the Hall of Fame.
Yeah. And speaking of foreign players, I saw the clip of Wembanyama over the weekend taking the fall-away 3 and then following his own shot with the dunk.
With a dunk.
Okay, Jerry, you got me. You got me. I'm tanking. I'm tanking.
A little late now.
Well, I know, but you guys were on it way before me. I'm like, I'm wait and see guy. But I mean, you're taking a fall-away 3 and then following your own shot with a put-back dunk.
Yeah, he's.
I don't know.
I really do think
He's a Frenchman too.
Was it
Jerry.
the fall-away 3 that he missed?
Yeah, he did a fall-away 3 and missed it.
Off the dribble.
And came back in and got the rebound and dunked it.
Yeah, he's got got a hand.
It's insane. I had to play.
Box out, huh?
He's a French.
No, boxat, eh? Le boxe.
Oh, stop it! Just stop it.
was-
All right. I read Tej. Yeah.
But he's a franchise guy. I mean, the only thing you question there is will he stay healthy?
Yeah.
I mean, you have to be concerned about his body.
I know.
But my gosh, he's a guy that if one of these 3 or 4 worst teams get him, I think they get 10 games, 15 games better.
Yep.
Speaking of staying healthy, think how much better OKC could be next year if Holmgren is a player and stays healthy, which I know, who knows.
But
Who
that's
knows?
two
Yeah.
things. That's if he's a player and stays healthy.
Yeah, there's
So
still two
I'm
things
still
to be decided.
I'm reserving. I'm not going all Wembanyama on Holmgren. I'm waiting to see.
No,
Chet
he's not-
out there.
he-
I'm
yeah.
waiting to see Chet in action.
So on April 3rd, you've decided, I think I would
Well,
take for Wembanyama.
Well, I didn't. If you see that clip, come on. There's no way because
No,
you've got to play it
come
3
on.
times to
I
go.
already-
Wait,
I
is
already-
that the same guy? Is it the same player?
Well,
Did they
but I already
slice
knew that
it in?
about him. We
Well,
already-
see, I know, and I said you guys were on it way before me. But I mean, it took a while. But when you show me that clip, I'm in.
Yeah.
There you go. And again, I want him to stay healthy now, and so and that's the most difficult thing. He's
And-
got the same body type as a Sam Bowie and guys like that.
Yeah. But he's got it.
Oh, he's got it.
He's
I know.
it's the real deal kind of thing. But so was Zion, and he can't stay healthy.
And how impressive is that the Pelicans have kind of went, okay,
No.
he's not coming back, and maybe there's
Brandon
a little,
Ingram is a different
yeah.
guy.
Well, maybe there's
Yeah.
a little bit of you when you know the guy's not, when you're waiting for him to come back, it's one thing. But I think at some point they go, he's not coming back, so we just got to close ranks, go ahead and go with what we've got. And like you say, when Ingram comes back and he's playing like he plays now, then and they're obviously a very good team. But I mean, they're a team that's 7 or 8 right now, and they've got their best player, albeit one of their best players hasn't played in a long time, and they're still come back and go, okay, this is what we got. And I think they're going to be really interesting in the play-in, and if they get into
Yeah.
the playoffs, they're going to be a really good team to watch.
Clippers 41-30. Sorry, Jerry, real quick. Clippers 41-38. Golden State 41-38. Lakers 40-38. New Orleans 40-38.
It's going to be a lot of
Wow.
tiebreakers as it comes into play. That's for sure. How that plays out, but I do think the Lakers and the Pelicans are probably the 2 hot teams
Right now, yeah,
and Zion is supposed to come back, and I think can he beat Zion in a short time? Probably not, but he'll help him.
But how that's really tough. I know it's Zion, but you still got to integrate him.
Yeah.
On a team that's closed ranks for 2/3 of a season, and they've kind of found a new way to operate. So getting him into that thing is not that easy.
The difference I think with him is you don't have to do much for him. Basically
He just goes out and gets it on his own
he can
without
just
being
go
designed
get it.
for
And
yeah.
I mean, Ingram's Ingram and McCollum's McCollum and Valanciunas. I mean, I think just plug him in there and he can get you a double by hanging around.
yeah.
I mean, without really working him in. I think as a 20-minute guy, I think he's that special. But
My concern with him would be, I think defense is one of their calling cards, and he's not a great defender, and he's probably not going to be
Yeah, even when he's
very
totally
good
healthy,
when he comes
he's-
back.
yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, no,
so,
even
yeah.
healthy, yeah,
Yeah.
that part is probably going to, so it'd be not all positive gain. You'd be better.
You still rather have him, yeah,
You're better offensively, a little worse defensively.
We were talking about defense a lot today. So Jerry,
No,
what
this is defense schmefense.
I am,
guy,
and
so.
I know, but I know I have to abdicate that position at some point, but I'm not going to. But I'm just want to ask you guys, as Kings supporters, we'll call it, what do they have to do in the next 4 games to make you feel better going into the play? Because right now, if the playoffs started this week, I feel a little bit trepidatious about it. So what do they have to show you in the next 4 games?
Well, I mean, it starts with some of the straight line drives. I mean, if nothing else, just that, half a dozen straight line drives.
Just close the road, close that road off.
At least make them.
Yeah.
Make them.
Make them go around.
Make them
detour.
go around.
Make them
or something.
detour. Yeah.
that's all. I mean, and how do you do that? Well, I mean, just try to stay in front of your man would start. I don't know how tricky they're trying to be.
I think Coach Brown has said that at least 78 times before
Yeah,
a game.
of
hasn't
course he has.
Yeah.
They're
But-
kind of attacking Keegan a little bit, right? Which is understandable, but
I mean, they are to some degree, but I think probably, Sabonis is not good at protecting the rim. up, which we knew. But then again, he's having to protect the rim
Yeah.
40 times a game when he should have to protect it 10 times a game.
Yeah, because that road is always open. Right?
That
Yeah.
road's all right. But that's why I guess if Coach Brown wanted my advice, which he doesn't and he shouldn't, but I would say, gosh, work on his zone. I mean, you've used it some, but that will give you a chance. You're going to give up some threes, and maybe you'll have to get out of it because of that. But at least you could take away some of the straight line drives and that sort of thing. And now the rebounding would be a little bit of a problem. But I mean, I just think they need to do that more and spend time with that to get better at it. Because if for no other reason, I would say, what has really given you guys problems over the years, this last part of the year, is playing against zones. It gets the Kings out of what they like to do. It's like, duh, if it bothers you, maybe it'll bother them.
Oh, I see.
You see what
It's
I'm
good
saying?
for the goose, as they
It's
say.
good for
Yes.
whatever it is.
The other
Something
thing,
something we've talked about just on the car ride and after the show that I don't
show.
think we've talked about much here. Why do you think Alex Len is getting more minutes? And he, by the way, played well last night.
I don't know.
Oh no, I think I do know. I mean, I think it's trying to get ready for the playoffs. Lynn does protect the basket better, as we've seen him get a little few more minutes. He was very effective yesterday in that game in limited minutes. I think 6 points, 7 rebounds in about 10 or 11 minutes or something like that.
6.7 rebounds in 13 minutes. We'll count it. Yeah,
That's
Yeah.
productive.
Yeah.
That's close enough. Yeah.
Yeah.
Close
Yeah,
enough.
so I mean, blocked a couple shots and
Only took 5 shots, made 3 of them.
you know he can kind of. I mean, he can actually make some shots. I mean, he hadn't felt comfortable doing that yet, so I like it. I mean, Metu just doesn't provide the physical force that Lynn can, and just
Could you
being
go if-
7-1 is a legitimate
It's 7-1. Yeah.
Could you go against a zone with Len and Sabonis, some high-low stuff, or can you not have them on the floor at the same time?
The big problem you have there is you got 2 guys that can't stretch the floor for the most part. I mean, not saying that actually
And one of them
Sabonis-
has to guard a 4. And
Sabonis' 3-point percentage is, I think, better than Fox's now. So,
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
so you got to kind of factor that in, But in you could do it. Don't get me wrong. Yeah, I think you could do it. I don't know how much you could do it. It'd be one of those things I think would be worth considering. But
depending on who you're playing.
who you're
obviously.
playing. But
Yeah.
I like what Mike Brown is doing there. I think he, again, is ahead of the curve. He's thinking if we have to play Minnesota, or we have to play, we're going to need some more size.
Yeah.
To play against these teams.
You could see that if they did think when they started playing Lenmore that they might play Minnesota. I wonder if some of it is geared towards Golden State. I was talking to somebody, a friend of mine, JD, John Dickinson, covers the Warriors. He says, I don't think they'd play Len against the Warriors. But Mike Brown knows the Warriors well, and he knows that certain bigs can cause problems. So I wonder if some of that is about that. Maybe we'll find out. Maybe we won't. Is there anything that stood out to you, Jerry? I know it gets a little wonky when you talk about the collective bargaining agreement, but they just reached agreement on a new 7-year deal. There are some interesting tidbits in there. There's a lot of, mind-numbing financial stuff. Anything that really stood out to you as a former GM about the new CBA with the players and owners?
Well, the
Governors, sorry.
It's certainly, I think, with the restricted free agency thing, there's some adjustments there to where, you can, as the owner of the free agent, so to speak, you can give them a little more, but then you can offer them more as well for the other team. I think about 10% more, which if I were the teams, I wouldn't like that. For my restrict, I want every opportunity
To keep the guy.
Sure.
to keep the guy.
Yeah.
And so this way, I think it's going to allow guys to say, well, I'll lose money by going to this team, but I won't lose as much. And that I
Makes it
think
more likely.
lose
That,
Okay.
it makes it more likely.
they say
So
bye-bye, yeah.
so that part. The other part is just the overall agreement on total salary cap. I think that's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
And then I can't remember.
what do you guys think of this? Because I know the Warriors are concerned about this. You've got the luxury tax.
Yeah.
Now they're going to put in a tax apron where obviously if you're so far over the cap, you've got to pay more dollars per dollar that you go over it. Now and I don't know if this is going to start next year or if they're going to work it in because the reporting's a little unclear. you're, what is it, 13.5 million over the cap, 14, whatever it is, then you lose your mid-level exception. So the exception is for a team in the cap.
Yeah.
Right? It's like you're paying a luxury tax, but we'll give you this exception, a
Right.
mid-level exception, so you can go out and get, like the Warriors last year, Dante DiVincenzo. Now the new agreement says, nah, you don't get that anymore. So for a team like the Warriors, like, well, how do we sign anybody? Because the owners are going after the Clippers and the Warriors, the teams that spend a lot, and they're trying to really rein in their ability to sign
Yeah,
players.
no, I mean, that's exactly right. And that's what certainly, to me, the Players Association kind of gave on that in order to get the higher salary cap and other
That's
things.
negotiating. That's what you do, yeah.
But, I kind of like it. I mean, to be honest with you, I mean, it's like if you're, just because you have the money and you want to spend $100 million over the cap in order to get two guys, well, maybe you don't deserve that opportunity. I mean, I think it's in some ways it is protecting the smaller market teams for the most part, and I think they should, just kind of like the NFL does.
Yeah, I don't like when they have rules and then all of a sudden they're just making exceptions to the rules. I mean, you mentioned NFL. I mean, how many times do you see an NFL guy, this guy, we've renegotiated his contract now, and now we have a lot more money we can spend. It just seems like they just move the lines whenever they want
Well,
to.
the argument, if from the Warriors side, not to take their side, but since they cover them, they're saying, look, we got these guys, and for the most part, we drafted them ourselves. We want to keep them, but they get more and more expensive. So we're trying to draft guys, keep them, and pay them what they deserve, and then stay competitive. But now you're making it so we can't go out and get anybody else. We're being punished for doing our job well. That's the Warriors' view of it.
Yeah, that is a good view, but I don't know if it's totally accurate. I mean, how do you get $100 million over the cap?
Yeah.
You pay Steph Curry.
In other words, so you're in some cases overpaying some guys, and that's why you have to lose a Wiseman in order to and take a Peyton, which probably short term is a good move, but long term probably not. But in order to save a lot of money, but
Sabonis is affected by this now too, right? His extension is going to be he'll be eligible for a much richer extension.
Much richer extension.
Yeah.
And this will shock you guys, but I bet he'll ask for it.
Breaking news.
Wow.
Yeah,
well, he's been in the room. So he knows.
It's just a guess. Yeah. Been around some agents over the years. I just thought he might.
Yeah, I think it would have been like, was it 111 and now he can get 130? I better double check those numbers. I have them here somewhere. But anyway, he's eligible for a much
So
richer
Jerry says
extension.
he'd probably ask for the 130.
I think he would.
Well,
I think he would.
That's the kind of mind we.
You
need
know, be
in that
honest
room.
with you, I would if I was him.
If I'm him, I'd ask for the 130 as well.
And you know what else?
What?
If I was the Kings, I'd give it to him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
Oh,
I would.
yeah.
How excited are you guys about the word on the play-in? Not the play-in, pardon me. The in-season tournament that came and that's part of this agreement. They've agreed how much players are going to get. Could start as soon as next year. $500,000 for each player on the winning team.
Ooh, yeah, great, yeah. Well, we
Well,
just
that-
talked about the guy making $130 million. I don't think that's going to be a big deal for him.
No, that's
okay?
like the All-Star game.
Yeah, maybe for some guys it would be, but those guys aren't the guys that decide who wins the game.
Yeah, if you're Matthew Dellavedova, you're saying,
all right. I'm going to watch you guys and root from the bench, and you're going to win.
I'm going to root really hard
Yeah,
now.
fantastic.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I think that's the thing. I guess I don't like it at all.
I don't either. I don't think it
I
has any.
just
I
don't
kid
like
you guys,
it.
but I think it's
No, it
ludicrous.
doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I'd go with ludicrous.
Yes,
Yeah,
yeah.
Maybe not to that same.
Well,
I
no,
like
not
that.
ludicrous.
Yeah.
You wouldn't say it the same. Well, let me ask you this as a Kings follower.
I will allow it.
Let me ask you this. Now,
Yes.
the magic number is still 1 for the Kings, right? To
For the
forget the
division?
third seed,
Oh, for the
right?
third seed, yeah.
So I'm already giving Phoenix their last 4 games. They're going to win. So the Kings have to win a game.
Yeah.
And that looked pretty. 24 hours ago or so, that looked like it was going to be pretty easy.
Yeah.
Now they got to go to New Orleans and play the Pelicans tomorrow night, and they're tough. The Mavericks the next night, second night of a back-to-back, and they don't play before then. And I guess their backs are against the wall. Who knows how they'll respond? But if they do respond, that's a tough game. Come home, you've got the Warriors at home, and then you got to go to Denver. Now, Denver probably the last game of the season. not playing everybody, but you don't want to leave it till then, right? And you want to get that third seed, don't you? So
Yeah, you do.
when are they going to grab it, Jerry? Talk me through it.
Well, okay, I'm gonna talk. I think it's got to be Dallas, and I know it's a back-to-back.
So we're letting the man.
and because I think not only their backs, I don't think their backs against the wall. I think they're on their backs.
Yeah. Okay, that's a different visual, but
Yeah.
okay, I'll give you that.
But I also think too. Then they would. Normally you'd think, boy, Denver would. They'll have the thing wrapped up, so
Yeah.
they would. But they might not because I'm probably reading too much into it. But Coach Malone might just want to say, I remember some things.
Oh, that's why I asked him. Hadn't even thought of that.
And he'd say, we'll rest guys before, but we'll be ready for this one to go. And just, I know Coach Malone a little bit, and, he's a.
That's also a good team building exercise if you can rally a team around, hey, this guy, they traded him, so let's go play for him tonight. Hey, guys, I want you to do this for me tonight. Sometimes that's a really good team building exercise.
And if you beat them and they fall to 4, then maybe you get them in the second round of the playoffs.
He might never say it, but.
Right. Yeah, okay.
Joker, you ready to go, buddy?
Yeah.
I was going to do impersonation, but I decided not to.
Thanks.
Yeah,
Okay.
you're right. Yeah.
What were you going to do?
No, it's not even important. But
I am Nikola
that doesn't.
Jokic.
Well, see, that's where I was going, and I said, "Well, no." But see, that I don't want to wait till that last game of the season. Like you say, they might have something. I mean, they're great on the road, and
It's
they
gonna
got
be a great game tomorrow night.
It's going to be really
should be a
difficult
really good
because the
playoff
Pelicans
atmosphere
are
and all that
playing
tomorrow.
real well, and they've
Yeah.
got obviously a whole bunch to play for.
And as Jerry says, that place is the Smoothie King Center is always hopping.
That's
for
what Jerry
years.
says.
Yeah, they'll have damn near half full. I'm sure they will.
Well, Jerry, any of those teams that are playing, I mean, not Mavericks, obviously, but Pelicans, they could still wind up out of the play, and they could still make it up to the 6th spot or
Yeah,
something like
no,
that.
there's
So
a- they
there's
have
a
a lot to
lot
play
on the
for.
line.
I mean,
and the Warriors, too, on Friday. I mean, obviously.
Yeah.
There'll be a lot of people in there that probably had free tickets and everything.
But, Jerry, they've got a team that's playing well. Isn't
I know,
The
no.
fans will come out, won't they?
Well, some of them will. I mean, we're not talking about the Saints here, are we?
No, we're not.
No, we're not.
No, we're not.
No.
Phantom, why don't you take us to Jersey City here?
Jersey City. So the Jersey City is if you're going to a game, the Kings are playing whatever team they're playing, and you were going to wear a jersey of that team. Which player would you choose to wear? Now, we've either already done Pelicans or I don't want to do Pelicans. They're too boring. So we're going to do the Mavericks. We're going to do the Mavericks to play the Mavericks on Wednesday. So if you're going to the Kings and Mavericks game and you're going to wear a Mavericks jersey to pay homage to the team from Dallas, which Mavericks player's jersey would you wear?
Okay. Can I answer with a question, a trivia question?
Sure.
You just did.
My player is one of 7 players since 1970. Only 7 players have scored 20 or more points per game in their final NBA season. Oh, this guy
that's
is
a good
one
one.
of them. He was, I think, first-team All-Rookie with the Mavs in 94.
Wow.
And he's
Okay.
one of only,
Okay.
Yeah, and
All
if
right.
you want to guess any of these guys, I mean, some of these guys
Okay.
you can probably guess, right? Some of the only 7 guys since 1970. Unfortunately, 2 of them died, so that's part of it.
Well, that was the question.
Yeah. This guy was, all rookie first team in 94 with the Mavs.
94.
And he's one of only 7 guys since 1970 to average 20 or more points a game in his last NBA season. One is like a gimme for Jerry,
Good. Okay.
right? Your good friend.
Good, buddy.
Yeah. Your friend from French Lick.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. He's a
Larry
pretty good player.
Bird.
Yeah, he's pretty
In
good.
He's a good
92,
player, yeah.
he averaged, that was his last year, and he averaged 20-something a game.
With
So,
no back, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the guy's back
Yeah.
was gone.
yeah. Jerry West was another one.
Jerry West,
74.
another fine player.
Yeah.
Very fine.
Yes,
Yeah.
good player. I'd say good.
Yeah. Reggie Lewis was one.
Oh, Reggie Lewis, yeah.
Well, he didn't
okay.
play very long for obvious reasons.
Right. Michael Jordan, Drazen Petrovic,
Oh.
and Jamal Mashburn. That's my guy.
Jamal Mashburn.
Yes.
Yes.
And he played, by the way, for both the Mavs and the Pelicans, because I don't know which way you were going.
That's
well, the New Orleans
First
Hornets.
of all, you'll get the points
Yeah.
for that.
Yeah, so Jamal Mashburn, all rookie first team in 94 with the Mavs. Also, I understand he used to eat kimchi.
I was going to ask you about that.
So, because in his breath and, wherever else he emanated smells, it's like,
He's a
guys
big
didn't-
guy, Jamal
You
Mashburn.
didn't want to guard him or box him out, Jerry, because oh my goodness. So,
yeah.
Kimchi, what's that?
it's pickled Korean cabbage. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and
A
it's
lot of
little
guys eat it
spicy,
before a game, yeah.
And
A lot of guys.
cabbage, you can imagine what it does to you, and he found that it was beneficial to him in some ways.
I'll be.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe wasn't. He had a short career.
Yeah,
But he averaged 20 points a game his last season.
Yeah, and
Jerry.
then his knee
Yeah,
went up.
And he's
white.
Whitey's jersey, so
Yeah.
obviously he
Yeah.
did something right.
Yeah, so a long ways to go there, but Jamal Mashburn's
I
my
liked
guy.
it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah. Yeah. Well, that is interesting.
Okay, good, good.
I love the
wouldn't-
kimchi
wouldn't have-
part. That's my
yeah,
favorite. I
wouldn't
love that
have-
part.
I
Yeah.
wouldn't have thought that. I mean, he wouldn't have been a guy that come to mind there.
Yeah. Well, because of the injury, that's why.
Yeah,
Like, he was
come
really
on,
good,
the
and then he
injury.
hurt his knee. He's like, he's no good anymore. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Do you have one for Phantom?
I do.
Yeah.
I do. Mine is Jimmy Jackson.
Oh, what a fantastic
Jimmy
one.
Jackson was a obviously outstanding rookie, third pick in the draft, just an outstanding player. Played for the Kings near the end of his career.
He was a
Good-
regular on our show.
Oh, we love Jimmy
yeah,
Jackson.
years with
yeah,
the Kings.
No surprise he's great at broadcasting.
And that's what me. I just liked him personally, and of course he's a terrific player. Probably could have even been a better player. I mean, I think that because he was a complete player, he ended his career with the Kings, and terrific on TV. He's a terrific broadcaster. I just think he's as good as there is on TV, if not the best already,
Yeah.
college or pro. And so Jimmy Jackson's my guy.
I remember Jimmy Jackson helping you on the radio
Oh, I needed a lot.
rap to Birthday by 50 Cent. Hey,
Yeah, I know.
Shorty. And I remember you were doing it, and Jimmy Jackson goes, that's it. That's
See?
it. I remember.
Yeah. Yeah, me and Jimmy.
Exactly.
We connected, yeah.
You guys,
like it.
So you got two of the three J's, you guys.
Yeah,
Nicely
we did.
done. And
So you have to get the third one.
And
Huh?
the third one is not the guy I'm going to get.
Oh,
I'm going to
okay.
get my favorite guy from the Mavericks because remember, we're talking about the original Arco when the Mavericks would come in every year, of course,
Yep.
a couple times, and they had. And speaking of a guy who wasn't as good as we thought he could have been, Roy Tarpley is a guy who comes
Oh,
to
boy.
mind. He was fantastic, but he's not my guy. My guy is buckets. My comp for him is C.J. McCollum, number 22, Rolando Blackman.
Ooh.
You like him. You mentioned
I
him.
really
Nothing
like.
wrong
He's
with
a
that.
buckets guy. He's
Yeah.
a guy buckets like you talk about Dale Ellis a lot.
Yeah.
Dale Ellis from the Supersonics the same way.
Yeah.
Just came in those days it wasn't really a three. So you come in and it's a guy on the other team. You know that guy when he shoots, it's going in. And Rolando Blackman was that guy for a long time with the Mavericks. I really love watching him play. Derek Harper in the backcourt
Yeah.
with him.
Dick
Good
Motta, the
backcourt.
coach. We talked about
Yeah.
Dick Motta.
Yeah,
He was a
yeah.
coach of that really good
So
Mavs team.
I do like Rolando Blackman. I don't like a lot of Mavericks, but I do like Rolando
Yeah,
Blackman.
no, Rolando. I always thought he was just a better version of Mike Woodson.
Yeah.
Their styles
more
were
athletic,
so
yeah.
little more athletic, a little better off the bounce. I mean, Mike was an excellent player.
Yeah, he really was.
really, really good. But I mean, Rolando just a
Yeah.
notch, just a little.
And they
notch.
locked it up a little bit,
Yeah.
when they came in. That was a good team.
That was-
yeah,
that was a
those
good
Dallas
team.
Mavericks. James
Yeah.
Donaldson, obviously, in the middle.
Yeah, last time we were together, this was, I think, after we were done, we were talking about another former Maverick, J.J. Barea. Remember,
Yeah.
we were talking about J.J. Barea, and I told you guys there was video of him doing a show from Puerto Rico. He went to Puerto Rico, I guess, to do a TV show.
Oh, that's
and they
right.
had him playing. He's sitting there talking to the guy.
Yes.
And I know this video's out there. I'm looking for it. And then they bring out these two little people, and he plays against them in basketball. And he's like, what? What do you want me to do? Apparently, when he was playing in the NBA, John Wall called him a midget.
Oh, that was
And
it.
I think
Okay,
that's
yeah.
why on
Oh,
this TV
John
shows
Wall.
they said, we'll have you play against these two. And it's not a politically correct term anymore.
No,
but
but-
anyway, I'm looking for the video. So when I'll share that with you, and I want to share with you guys. And I
That's
think
great.
I think JJ did pretty well against the two
He
smaller
did.
people.
Did he? Did a mouse in the house? Did he?
Yeah, he gave him this.
Yeah, he goes,
He invented
"Hey,
that.
Too
Yeah.
small.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I know one thing. He's got one more ring than John Wall, doesn't he?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, Jerry.
Hey, did you see Patrick Beverly? We
Yes.
didn't talk about when he did that to LeBron.
Yeah.
Oh, wasn't
Yeah.
that nice?
Then Austin Reeves did it to him.
Did it to Beverly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Anything
they-
else? Anything further, Father?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Anything farther further?
Yeah.
Father
Yeah.
further.
Yeah. Congratulations, Jared, on a wonderful night.
Was
last
fantastic,
night.
Jerry.
Yeah.
It was
well
very,
deserved.
Very, appreciated.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all. I think it's probably over the top, but
Yeah.
appreciated anyway.
Yeah.
Well, you are 0-1 on standing ovation nights.
Yeah, yeah.
I just thought I'd mention that. So don't go back out there because they'll get another one and they'll lose.
Well, I was going to say I might even be 0 for 2. I can't remember the 'Cause
Oh,
when
that's right.
That night I
Yeah.
retired, but maybe we won. I don't know. It's very possible.
We'll track that down. We'll have that
Yeah,
for you next
yeah,
time.
so
We're
I'd
gonna-
like to be at least 500.
500 on standing ovation
The
nights.
ovation,
You know,
yeah.
that's two
Yeah.
more standing ovation nights than we've got.
Yeah,
so
no,
we'll
that's
Crunch
right.
the numbers
Well
for you.
done,
We'll have
sir.
that for you next time on the Old Fashioned 3.
Thank you for joining the Old Fashioned 3 on Stones Radio Networks. To stay updated on the show, like and subscribe on YouTube, and all shows are available for download on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts, and of course at stonesradionetworks.com. Follow the show and the gents on Twitter at OL, Fashioned, and the number 3, at Phantom Radio 60, and at Whitey Gleason. This has been a production of Stones Radio Networks.